Welcome back to Apex Sci-Fi. In the medical databases of the Galactic Accord, there is a concept known as systemic shock. For nearly every sentient species in the known universe, the distance between a mortal wound and total cessation of activity is measured in milliseconds. The Voltari, the Xandarians, the Geth, they are masterpieces of biological efficiency. But that efficiency comes with a price: a low tolerance for trauma. When a Voltari warrior is struck in a vital organ, their nervous system immediately recognizes the impossibility of survival. To save the brain from the trauma of pain, the body simply quits. It enters a state of profound shock that leads to instant unconsciousness. In the galaxy, death is a switch. You are either on or you are off. There is no middle ground. Then, the galaxy met the humans. Humanity is not efficient. Our biology is a chaotic, redundant, and stubbornly persistent mess. We possess a trait that xenobiologists have come to call the dead man's 5 minutes. It is a terrifying biological lag where the human brain, flooded with a cocktail of neurochemicals and ancient survival instincts, simply refuses to accept the data provided by its own nerves. A human can be shot through the heart, lose a limb, or suffer a catastrophic drop in blood pressure, and for a few precious, horrifying minutes they will not fall. They will not go into shock. Instead, they enter a state of terminal defiance. This is the story of Sergeant Silas Jax, and the 10 minutes of combat that shouldn't have existed. The Battle of Reach Station was a desperate retreat. The United Earth Expeditionary Force was being evacuated while the Hollowed, a race of cybernetic marauders who harvested biological components, poured through the airlocks. The station's central spine was the only path to the escape pods. Sergeant Jax and his squad were the rear guard. Their orders were simple: hold the corridor until the civilian transports cleared the dock. The Hollowed moved like a liquid shadow, firing high-velocity shards of magnetized glass that could shred standard armor. Jax stood at the far end of the primary walkway, braced behind a heavy barricade. His squad was falling. One by one, the lights on his tactical HUD went dark. "Jax," the command channel crackled. "The pods are away. Get out of there. The station is lost." "Copy that," Jax grunted, his voice steady despite the chaos. "Just gotta finish my shift." As Jax turned to retreat, the leader of the Hollowed Vanguard, a towering four-armed construct of chrome and flesh, leaped from the shadows. It fired a concentrated beam of thermal energy directly into Jax's chest. The armor melted. The beam pierced through the lung and shattered the lower spine. On the Hollowed's HUD, the human status icon turned a flat, dull gray. The sensors, calibrated to detect the subtle magnetic fields of a living nervous system, confirmed the kill. The human's heart had stopped. His lung had collapsed. His central nervous system was severed. According to every law of galactic biology, Silas Jax was dead. The Hollowed commander lowered its weapon, preparing to step over the corpse. But Jax didn't fall. The human didn't even stumble. In Jax's brain, the dead man's 5 minutes had activated. The adrenaline didn't just mask the pain, it erased it. His consciousness, now fueled by a massive surge of reserved glucose and pure, unadulterated rage, detached itself from the physical reality of his broken body. He wasn't breathing because he didn't need to. The residual oxygen in his blood was enough for one final push. Jax swung his heavy combat shotgun upward. Boom. The Hollowed commander's primary sensor head vanished in a cloud of sparks and blue fluid. The alien construct staggered back, its own logic processors crashing. "Target is dead," its HUD flashed. "Anomaly detected. Dead target is attacking." Jax didn't stop. He stepped forward. His boots made a heavy wet sound on the deck plating. He shouldn't have been able to walk. His spine was shattered, but his leg muscles were firing in massive, uncontrolled spasms that his brain was somehow directing through sheer force of will. The Hollowed soldiers opened fire. Shards of glass buried themselves in Jax's arms, his legs, his throat. He looked like a pincushion of glittering death. But he kept coming. He was a biological machine that had overridden its own off switch. He reached the Hollowed line and became a whirlwind of raw, messy violence. He used his empty shotgun as a club, shattering the delicate cybernetic optics of the marauders. When his gun broke, he used his hands. When his hands broke, he used his teeth. The Hollowed began to retreat. For the first time in their history of harvesting, they felt a sensation that was close to terror. They were warriors of logic and cold efficiency. They fought the living. They did not know how to fight the man who was already dead. Jax cleared the corridor. He didn't stop until he reached the primary airlock control. His vision was fading now, turning into a narrow tunnel of red light. He could hear his own blood hitting the floor, a steady rhythmic drip that marked the seconds he had left. He reached for the emergency override. He didn't have the strength to pull the lever. So, he leaned his entire body weight against it, using his final dying momentum to drag the iron bar down. The airlock hissed shut. The magnetic seals locked. The civilians were safe. Silas Jack stood there for a moment, leaning against the cold metal door. His eyes were still open, staring at the shadows of the enemies he had defeated. He had survived for exactly 10 minutes and 14 seconds after his heart had stopped beating. When the station was recaptured 3 days later, the human recovery teams found him. He was still standing. Rigor mortis had set in while he was braced against the door, turning him into a permanent statue of defiance. The hollowed commander's shattered mask was found at his feet. The story of the dead man of Reach Station spread through the galaxy like a contagion. Alien military academies began to study human anatomy with a new sense of dread. They realized that the most dangerous part of a human isn't their weapons or their ships or their strategy. It is the fact that even after you win the fight, the human might not realize it's over. In the Galactic Medcorps, they have a new warning for soldiers encountering human hostiles. Check the pulse. Check the breath. But even if there is none, do not lower your weapon. A human's mind can hold a grudge long after their heart has stopped. They are the only species that considers death to be a minor technicality. This has been Apex Sci-Fi. Our bodies have a limit, but our spirits don't know how to read the manual. If you've ever kept going when you thought you couldn't take another step, hit that like button. You've got that Jack's energy. Comment below. Why do you think humans are so hard to shut down compared to other species? Subscribe. And remember, never count a human out until the job is done. Flatline confirmed. Still moving.